Today, we will compare all 4 major physical defense items: Twilight Armor, Dominant Size, Antique Cuirass, and Blade Armor, so you will know exactly what to pick in your next game. Let's go!
Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit with you, just the thrill of it. Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit.
Yo guys, how's everyone doing? This is your guy Assassin Dave. Welcome back to the foreign famous family again. After today's comparison academy, you will know exactly what to build in every game going against different physical damage types such as burst skill damage from Saber and Aldos, burst crit damage from Bruno or Brody, high frequent tick damage from heroes like Claude and 1-1. Understanding this will not only help you now, but more importantly, prepare you for new future heroes and balance changes. It's going to be a very informative video and bunch of things to unpack. So make yourself comfortable and get ready for some knowledge bomb. But first thing first, let me first talk to you about today's video sponsor, Mech Arena. I am actually super excited about this sponsorship because, to be completely honest with you guys, I'm secretly addicted to this super fun game every time when I have a few minutes to rest, whether I'm just taking a short break from work or before going to bed. Mech Arena is a new exciting free-to-play team PvP mobile game. Every game only lasts for about 3 to 5 minutes from my experience, and there are many game modes including Team Deathmatch, Control Point Clash, and so on. On top of that, there are many different mechs you can choose in the game with different abilities. You can also choose different weapons in the game, lots of which you can earn and upgrade completely for free by participating on numerous daily and weekly events. What I like most about the game is how fast-paced and action-packed Mech Arena is. Hit the ready button, jumping a game in a few seconds, and start shooting down noob enemy mechs. It's so fun and addicting, and I am actually fairly decked out in the game as well. So if you want to play some games with me, make sure to download the game free with the link in the description or the QR code you see on screen. You will receive a black carbon skin, 308 coins, and 50,000 credits. You can also add me with my ID shown here or in description. Again, download Mech Arena now, and I will see y'all in the arena. Now, let's talk about Twilight Armor. The super odd thing about this item is that it's called an armor, but it doesn't offer any armor, if you know what I mean. It only offers HP, mana, and crit damage reduction. I have proposed to the developers to change the mana stats to an armor stats instead, because if you think about it, when was the last time a tank or a traditional fighter really needed mana? Hey! But just like other items, the more important reason why you should buy Twilight Armor is largely for its unique characteristics, and Twilight Armor is really one of its kind when we talk about being special. First, you get 20% crit damage reduction. This right here tells you Twilight Armor is a great item to go against any heroes who deal large sum of crit damage such as Irothel, Bruno, and so on. Now, let's take a look of its passive. Whenever you take a single damage source that exceeds 600 damage, either through auto attack or skill damage, Twilight Armor passive will kick in and reduce all subsequent physical damage by another 20% for 3 seconds. If you add this up with the default 20% crit damage reduction, you can literally reduce the crit damage by 40%. Now, that's really some bulletproof ass stuff right there. On top of it, Twilight Armor also gives you some AoE damage, which is not the most appealing aspect of the item, but it's still a nice add-on if you build this item on fighters like Terizla and stuff. You can really dish out some sick AoE damage when you stick onto an unlucky foe. Overall, this item is great against enemies who has large sum of burst damage and frequent crit damage such as Aldos, Bruno, Granger, Clint, and so on. By the way, if you enjoy the content, do me a favor and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. As a thank you, here's a picture of a cute dog. Speaking of physical defense item with mana attributes, we have to talk about Dominant Size. Different from other defense items, Dominant Size doesn't really offer any HP. Its basic attributes only include physical defense, mana, and a little bit of my favorite attribute in the game, movement speed. What this item does offer that makes it super meta is anti-heal effect and attack speed reduction. Why are these two attributes important? Well, number one, almost all fighters in the game have some sort of shield or lifesteal mechanics built in, such as Esmeralda, Ruby, Alpha, Lapu, just to name a few. Anti-heal will effectively cut all this heal sustain in teamfights and give you an edge in bursting them down. What about attack speed reduction? This attribute is one of the most OP attributes in the game to effectively counter Claude, Carry, 1-1, and so on. Because this type of marksmen don't really do a lot of burst damage, instead they deal very high frequent physical tick damage, which means their most important attribute is attack speed. Building Dominant Size not only cut their lifesteal in teamfight, you also reduce their damage output overall by reducing the most important element to their damage output, attack speed. And if this doesn't appeal to you enough, I don't know what will. The only downside of Dominant Size is the mana component of it. It's usually a complete waste for lots of heroes who can benefit from the item tremendously, such as Yu Zhong, Samus, and so on. This is also why Dominant Size is more of a specialty item instead of a must build. You only want to build this if you really need anti-heal or attack speed reduction. If not, you might be better off with some of the other choices we go over in this video. Oh, and the extra 10% CDR on Dominant Size definitely does not hurt at all. One of my favorite tier 3 defense item has to be Antique Cuirass. The building block for this item is great, and the finished product is even better. Extra 900 HP and 54 physical defense are both very important stats, but on top of that, the passive of the item is an upgrade of its component Dreadnaught Armor, which reduces 30% of the physical attack from your pursuer. Now, I know this item is about to receive a revamp which changed the triggering condition for its passive from all attack to skill cast. What this means is basically instead of building this item for everyone, you are now mainly limited to building this item for fighters or marksmen who are reliant on skill cast to do damage, such as Granger, Brody, and so on. So in summary, the optimized use for Antique Cuirass is still for enemy team with high burst assassins or fighters like Saber, Zilong, Alucard, Bane, Lapu, and so on. And this leads to our next must talked about item, Dreadnaught Armor. Dreadnaught Armor, this little component of Antique Cuirass, believe it or not, is actually the most powerful and cost-effective item in the game. If you're playing tank, if you're playing a squishier carry hero who try to survive against an enemy saber, if you're playing anything really, as long as enemy has physical damage fighters, this is it. This is your homie, this is your boy, this is your girl, this is your gospel of being called a hacker, whatever you like to call it. You might say, Dave, you blow this item so high, but why? The reason are manifold. Number one is what Uncle Dave would call, it's so cheap. Yeah, it's cheap. Dreadnaught Armor is only 730 gold, but it offers 40 flat physical defense, which is amazing. Even if you compare it to Blade Armor, who offers 90 physical defense for 1660 gold, Dreadnaught Armor is still slightly cheaper per armor point gained. And in addition to that, Dreadnaught Armor reduces your attacker total physical attack by up to 18%. That's basically death sentence for any high burst damage assassins and fighters, especially in the early game. This is literally double damage reduction if you think about it. One coming from your armor and the second coming from the Dreadnaught's passive. So I highly recommend you build it in all scenarios. Now, let's talk about Blade Armor. Interesting thing about this item is it only offers armor. Whole 90 points of armor. Nothing else, clean and simple. Now obviously, we're going to address the passive, which directly sets a tone for the usage of this item. Rather calling Blade Armor's passive a defensive stat, it's more of a very offensive stat. This passive is what allows tanks to become killers in the game, especially after recent patches where developers changed the reflected damage calculation from after reduction to pre-damage reduction calculation. To make this very easy to understand, just imagine Aldo skill 1 is about to deal 1000 damage to Terizla who has Twilight Armor and Blade Armor, sitting on 40% HP, which means Terizla will have 50% damage reduction. So, the effective damage done to Terizla from Aldos will be 500 damage instead. But at the same time, Aldos will take 25% of the total 1000 damage he would have done to himself, which is about 250 damage reflected, thanks to the pre-reduction calculation formula. Remember, this is not even considering all the additional reductions Terizla has from all the armor he built from all these items. It's simply insane how Blade Armor can be if you combo this item with other armor items and damage reduction mechanisms. However, I do not recommend you build this item on its own. Try to build it as second or third item after some major defense items like Antique Cuirass or Twilight Armor is a much better option for your early game survivability. People may ask, what about Brute Force Breastplate? As you probably noticed, this item is only 1870 gold, serves as one of the cheapest physical defense items in the game. Now, with such an affordable pricing, you're also not getting the premium stats either. Nonetheless, Brute Force Breastplate is still an essential item for lots of squishy jungle carry characters like Granger, Brody, especially against high mobility assassins. During an ongoing combat, you can easily trigger all 5 layers of its passive and gain the full effect of its stats, which grants you 20 extra physical and magic defense. And this bumps your total physical defense to 65, only 5 short of Dominance Ice. This means you will be insanely tanky, and the cherry on top is the 10% extra movement speed you're getting to make you run around insanely fast, not to mention the extra HP you're getting. With all that being said, I would simply call this father of physical defense items for squishy carries. If you're against Ling, Hayabusa, Benedetta, or Saber, get this item early will ensure your smooth transition into late game and really give your enemy lots of trouble. Anyways, that will be all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn the bell on to all notification bells. If you'd like to learn more, make sure to check out the Comparison Academy playlist where I compare all the major items and heroes so you know what to pick and what to use in all scenarios of Mobile Legends. Love you guys, and Assassin Dave signing off. See you guys next time. Bye for now.
Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit with you.